All right, we have no plan.
We have a plan.
We have no plan for this one.
Oh, we kind of do.
Crazy for this one, Matheson. Should we just start? Do we want to make a plan? We don't want to make a plan. We don't plan.
Who needs plans?
All right, hello and welcome to the latest episode of the hit podcast of the year. One of Oprah's favorites. Oprah's fifth favorite thing.
Mm-hmm.
Things Might Happen with Tyler, Sheldon, and Tyler.
She brought back her show just to tell people how much she liked the podcast. It's crazy.
Well, let's let our guest introduce.
No, we're not getting to the guest introduction yet.
Oh, not yet.
Hold on. Actually, I didn't say this before the podcast on purpose. But we don't so we haven't been on guests all the time yet. So a lot of times when people tune in, they just expect to see me, Tyler, and Sheldon.
Mm.
So if you're here, it's kind of throw off the mood. So
Oh,
if I
yeah,
can get
that's
you
right.
Gotcha.
kind of walk off camera.
Walk in. We have walkout music, so whatever you want to.
Yeah, don't worry, we'll patch it in.
We'll get in post.
You could choose between Motorhead or Judas Priest.
I bet that camera is not flat at all. I bet that's a tilted angle, like a Dutch angle.
You want to check that out?
No, we're not going to check it out.
Oh, okay.
We could let the cinematographer that is standing right behind it.
So today on Things Might Happen, we have an esteemed guest, one of the leading pioneers of the Black Hills New Wave film movement, I'm told.
Mm-hmm.
I know his last name, but why don't you?
Yeah, of course. Let's have Mr. Ryan Brewer come and join us. Give it up for Ryan
All
Brewer.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Got the coolest clothing out of
That's
all of
probably the most interesting introduction I've ever been a part of. Thank you.
Yep.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, how could we not when we have you?
I feel so loved.
You have a great sweater.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Love it.
Your work was really good on Dune.
Dune 2. Get it right.
Dune
Too.
Yes,
It was
yes.
great.
So no, Ryan Brewer, we have him here. He's a guy.
A guy, yes.
I know the things you've done. But why don't you tell
Hold
her?
on now.
Why don't you
Hold on.
Yeah, there's a warrant. You've been served.
This has all been an elaborate
It was in my
ruse.
writer. There's certain things we're not supposed to talk about on the show. It's,
Why don't you tell our guests a little bit about yourself?
well, I'm a filmmaker and photographer here in the Black Hills. I've been doing, been making my own movies for about 15 years. I grew up acting. And I started doing photography professionally about 5 years ago, I want to say. Kind of born from the filmmaking as well. So, yeah, that's what I do. I'm also a dad on occasion.
Think you're better than me?
Wow. I had to throw that in there.
My most important job is father.
Oh, I don't think I could say it that way. That's for 5 years. I've been doing professional photography, and in other words, people occasionally pay me
Yeah.
to do it.
That's how we're
And then-
professional comedians.
Yes,
Yeah.
I get
Yeah.
paid more for the photography than any of the film work, so that's it's a plus.
Well, people like photographers.
Yes, exactly.
That's actually-
filmmakers.
That's actually why I bought that camera. I thought maybe if I had one, people would like me more.
That was my mistake. I was like,
When you're walking around at 11 at night with a long lens, people start assuming things about you.
they tend to look at you a little differently.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
either a pervert or a private eye.
Exactly.
Or private eye.
You
That's-
know?
you
I
can be a
only take on
combination.
cheating cases.
Just trying to catch your cheating girlfriend
Yeah.
does not make you a private eye, Tyler. We've had this conversation.
So earlier you were telling us about a charity, or you were going to do, but you've
Well, if for anybody that's interested in it, I don't know if they'll see this before this will air before it happens, but on March 14th there is an event in Deadwood called St. Panty's Day at the Saloon Number 10, and it's a charity lingerie show. They auction off. They model and then auction off lingerie for breast cancer awareness and for raising funds for for fighting breast, or I think it's breast cancer. It might just be cancer in general, but I'm pretty sure it's breast cancer, but I could be wrong.
I mean, I think that's included, right?
See, there would be a distasteful joke to do in here about holding St. Patty's or St. Panty's Day on Pie Day, but I'm too classy for that.
I'm not.
But yeah, I normally I do the photos for that, but I'm going to be going out to Portland, Oregon next week to be set photographer for a fan film that's being made out in Portland right now.
Is it what's the subject matter of the fan film?
Twilight.
Yeah, I kind of figured.
Yeah.
That's the only thing you can make in Portland.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with that. That's just truth. That's facts.
I have
Portland,
family that
Washington.
like Twilight.
I have a lot of friends that like Twilight.
I also have mentally ill people in my family, Tyler.
Just try to be interested in the guest.
This particular project was actually born from another project. I got hired to do a photo shoot in Florida in December of 2022, and flew down to Florida and did a photo shoot with a really awesome model named Mars. And
Shout out Mars.
yes, shout out Mars.
I
And
don't know Mars.
hard to Google.
from then they posted all their photos, and this group that they're also a member with, associated with Twilight, they've been putting together a fan film for years now, and so they've been wanting to work with me for a while, and then they finally made it happen.
So is this like a continuation of the series, or is this like happens in between the movies, or like
I actually haven't.
alternative timeline? You don't know.
I don't know. I think it was kind of briefly explained to me a little bit here and there, and I got a script, but I'm not allowed to talk about the script. So.
He's just gonna show
I
up
had
and
to
point
sign
his
an
camera at
NDA.
something.
They made me sign legal stuff. So
For a
Really?
fan
And-
film?
Yeah. Exactly.
So you're nationally, you're moving around
I'm trying.
tip to tip.
I'm trying. You know, it is kind of weird, when you think about South Dakota in terms of the film community. Like out on the other side of the state, Sioux Falls is actually doing pretty good. Like they're building a pretty strong community out there. And I don't know if that's because they have immediate access to Minneapolis or something like that, or maybe that's why. Or maybe it's just because there's more people. But there's not a whole lot on this side of the state that's really going on. And it really sucks. And I've felt that for like the last 15 years. When I first started, I didn't know anybody else that was doing it, and so I ended up kind of having to learn how to do everything on my own, from the filming to the editing to the casting. So many things that are all pretty much full-time jobs, and it's impossible for one person to do. But I do it because I don't know anybody else that does, and I can't afford to hire people that do.
So Ryan was actually the chief photographer on a short film that I was in.
Oh, I was the director of photography.
Director of photography.
Yes.
Sorry, wrong term. My bad.
Interesting that he went to chief.
And that was never been to Graceland.
Never been to Graceland.
Yes, I think that might have been one of the first times we met, actually.
I think so. Yeah, it was one of
Yeah.
the first times. Yeah.
if not the first time.
We filmed a short film in the Chamber of Commerce in Hot Springs?
Yes, it was
Yeah.
at the Chamber of Commerce.
I've been in 2 films, and they both filmed in Hot Springs for some weird reason.
That's
a
where Dances
place.
with Wolves was filmed.
Interesting that you went to Dances with Wolves.
You and Kevin Costner have a lot in common.
Shout out to Kevin Costner, big fan of the show, I know.
Yes, I've heard that. He's going to be the follow-up guest. I'm glad I get to go before him.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes.
You don't want to follow
We'll
the
tell him you said
K-Dog.
hi.
No, I don't want to go after him for sure.
If we send this to Kevin Costner, do you think he would come on our podcast?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I admire your
He
brutal
owns
honesty.
land out
No.
here, doesn't he? He can
Yeah,
just
he'll
come and
probably
visit.
sell the
Yeah.
land. He'll probably disassociate complete with South Dakota.
Is that
Probably.
is that his restaurant in Deadwood? Is that what it?
Didn't it like close or something?
No, it's still open.
Well,
Naked
they
Jake's?
reopened it.
Naked Jake's or something like that.
It's still just Jake's.
Just
I
Jake's,
don't think
sorry.
they've
Just
still
Jake's.
kept the clothes on.
Kevin's.
It's not naked yet. As far as it did close for a while, and I think that was when he was basically selling off all of his stuff, like because he had the Tatanka thing up on the hill there, which I don't know what they're doing with that now either, but there's construction going on.
There's lawsuits around that. Don't worry, Kevin. We won't talk about the lawsuits. We don't.
my
we
bad.
don't wanna,
I
we don't
won't
want to
bring
get into
that up
that.
then. Sorry.
From what I understand, they didn't want to pay the artists that made the
Oh,
Tatanka
I get it.
statues. Yeah. Gosh, who wants to pay artists for doing their craft?
I know, right?
Gosh.
That's just weird.
Selfish.
Yeah, rude. They should do it for free.
Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely. Just for the exposure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So we had kind of a segment we wanted to start with, and instead of just completely blindsiding you, Ryan,
Okay.
we're going to kind of like put it out there, and we'll give you a minute to figure out what
Oh, we're
going to
make it harder for editing. Okay. That's what we're gonna do.
No.
I'm
no.
guessing you're the one who does the
We're-
edit.
I want to know.
I don't know what segment we're starting.
I don't
I mean, you literally put in the group chat, like, we'll start with this segment, and then
no
we'll
one
interview.
said yes. Everyone said no.
Nobody said
So I thought,
no.
oh, it's a stupid idea. It's not that bad.
Tyler just immediately loses confidence if he doesn't
Sorry
get
for planning and
unanimous
trying to make a decent
support.
podcast.
Oh no.
All right. So what I want to know is, I want to know your favorite like random holiday. It doesn't like not Christmas, not 4th of July, not Easter, not Thanksgiving, right? I want to know what your favorite holiday is that just either shouldn't be a holiday or doesn't have much of a deep meaning.
According to
to
my dad, my birthday.
I don't like that one either.
it. Shout out to Tyler's dad, big fan of the pod. Not for Tyler, he skips anytime Tyler talks.
All right. Well, since you introduced,
I think my favorite random holiday is Arbor Day, because you get those holidays where it's like we're memorializing this person because they were really important to our way of life. And Arbor Day is like, I don't know, guys, just go plant a tree. And they were like, all right, when should we do this? When should we plant a tree? They're like, last Friday in April. Last Friday in April. And you can tell it was somebody who just wanted to get off of work that day. It's like, no, there's a federal holiday that we have to. It's he looked outside and all he saw was trees. It's Arbor Day. We should all go plant trees.
yeah, John Arbor came up with that.
John Arbor.
Yeah.
John Arbor.
The
Sitting
irony
in
of
his
that being that it was
cubicle.
Nebraska. So the fact
Yeah.
that he looked outside and saw trees is amazing to me.
Well, that's it. He wanted to change Nebraska.
He saw the one tree over there.
I've been to that city.
That's what we need. More of those.
There's a lot of monuments.
J. Sterling Morton founded that. You're a big deal if you go by a first initial and not like a name. J. Sterling Morton, that's a great name.
I think we were going to call you Sterling for a little bit.
That was gonna be my name. So, do you even know? I don't even know any obscure holidays.
I'm sure you do.
Do I? Oh, in South Dakota, I think it's August 9th, I believe, is Kiss Rock and Roll Day.
Kiss Rock and Roll Day?
Yeah, you could bring that up, young Thatcher.
You just
I go
invented
by
it. How can he
Thatcher.
bring it up?
In South Dakota,
Okay.
literally in South Dakota.
You brought up the holiday and then told him to look it up.
Well, if I remember correctly,
You're supposed to bring something.
this
to
happened
podcast.
over 10 years ago.
South Dakota governor declares Kiss Rock and Roll Day in South Dakota. Banned rock 40,000 in Sturgis.
I was there. I was
This
one
is
of those.
Governor Mike Rounds, by the way, the person who I definitely know has never heard a Kiss song. There's no way that Mike Rounds has ever heard a song from Kiss. He's listening to Casting Crowns and nothing else.
Not that I hate that holiday, but that's the only obscure thing I can think of right now. And I'm wearing a Kiss shirt. So,
Oh, man.
yeah. So what do you got, Mr. Blazer?
So I don't like holidays.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not a holiday guy.
Because they make him go to work still.
I don't have cheer in general. But the one holiday I do observe is the Ides of March.
That's coming up.
It's coming up.
It's your time of year.
It's actually quite fortuitous
It's
because
the day after Pi Day.
Uh-huh.
sometimes. So on the Ides of March, every single year, I watch a movie directed by George Clooney, starring George Clooney and Ryan Gosling, and Philip Seymour Hoffman and a lot of other people I don't remember right now. And
What
it's
is this
a
movie?
political thriller called The Ides of March. And I watch it for about an hour and I go, man, I wish this movie was better. And then I watch Michael Clayton.
I used to do the same thing with V for Vendetta. Like every 5th of November.
Yeah.
For like 8 years, I watched it. And then I was like,
And then you kissed a girl.
Yeah, pretty much.
That ends most things.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it does. So I was actually at Christian college throughout my college years, and we were not allowed to own or watch rated R movies on campus. So while I was at college to do this, we had to go to a friend's apartment off campus to go watch V for Vendetta, which is funny because like 5 years before I got to that college, you weren't even allowed to like bring DVDs or VHS tapes or anything like that.
When did you go to college?
1874.
I wasn't allowed to bring any laser discs.
They were fine with Laserdisc because nobody had a player.
It sounds like what's the name of that one? People who don't celebrate birthdays.
Oh, Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah, it sounds like
yeah.
a Jehovah's Witness calling.
And of course, they actually had one specific movie that you could have that was rated R. Because
The
somebody
Passion
made
of the Christ.
The Passion of the Christ. Somebody made a big deal. They're like, "Oh, we can't watch The Passion of the Christ. It's rated R." And they were like, "Fine, you can have that one." And they went, "Oh."
That wasn't the part.
Thought that was going to be a bigger fight. There,
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah.
They were like, the
Well, all right
director's
then.
anti-Semitic, and they were, oh, hey, here we go.
Exactly. Like, this is perfect. Shout out to Mel
Absolutely.
Gibson. Mel Gibson is following Kevin Costner on the podcast.
I would like to have Mel Gibson on.
Yeah, it'd be cool. What about you?
Oh, the only one that keeps popping into my head is National Pirate Day. That's the only one that pops in my head.
Is it National Pirate Day or National Talk Like a Pirate Day? Which, like, is there multiple?
I mean, there's probably both. I mean, there's like a holiday for every day of the year, I think, if you looked hard enough.
When's National Pirate Day?
I don't know.
Okay.
But, I mean,
How do you
When's National
celebrate?
Somali Pirate Day?
He goes and just abducts Americans.
He goes and follows Tom Hanks around. I'm the captain now.
I'm the captain now, yes. I mean, probably just Talk Like a Pirate Day, I guess.
All right.
But I don't even know
Well,
what day it is. so-
International Talk Like a Pirate Day.
International.
He didn't.
It's not
Well,
national.
is there a national and an international?
I mean,
When I searched National Pirate Day and International Talk Like a Pirate Day is the
Alright.
one that they insist.
Didn't know if it was like Canadian Thanksgiving, where it's just on some random day or whatever.
September 19th, which is
You didn't know
the
that off the
perfect.
top of your head.
I didn't. I looked it up.
Canadian Thanksgiving is September 19th.
Oh no! International Talk Like a Pirate Day.
Pirate
I
Day.
thought he just knew like Canadian things. He's like, absolutely.
Canadian Thanksgiving is like a month. It's like October 20th or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like the day after my birthday.
Same as your birthday. Nobody remembers it.
Okay, it's October 14th. I was pretty close.
Oh, that's actually my little brother's birthday.
Oh, there
Everybody
you go.
remembers that one.
Yeah. So
Is it the
international
same?
pirate.
Yep,
Day.
International Talk Like a
You-
Pirate
do you
Day.
dress up as a pirate?
I don't.
Do you talk like a pirate?
I don't.
Do you,
It's his favorite
I-
holiday. You know,
I never said it was my favorite. I just said it's the only one that
It's the only
popped
one
in
you
my
can think
head.
of because again, we ambushed him.
I gave him 10 minutes.
Yeah, we
to
gave
come up
3
with
minutes.
with no resources, no phone, no. anything.
Yeah, like that's the only one that like it's like National Couples Day, I guess.
National. That's when you like celebrating.
No, I
or-
hate that.
Oh,
one.
okay, all right. So you hate
Did you
Valentine's
celebrate
Day.
it before?
I don't celebrate Valentine's Day. Thank you very much.
On
Because I have
purpose?
no
You
one to
just-
celebrate it with.
Do you just watch the horror movie Valentine's Day?
I do.
Okay,
yes.
yeah.
I will watch. I'll watch any Valentine's Day related horror film on Valentine's Day.
Are there a lot?
I mean, yeah. I mean, you'd probably be surprised. Like if you brought up the IMDb and just put in the word Valentine, you'd there's My Bloody
Passion of the Christ
Valentine.
happens on Valentine's Day.
Pretty sure that happens on Easter. Like that's the whole point of Easter. But okay, 3 Valentine's horror movies. There's one called Valentine.
Mhm.
There's My Bloody Valentine, and then there's the remake of My Bloody Valentine.
Oh, there's got to be a more than.
Well,
three.
there's at least 3. I mean,
at least.
Well, it's
3.
like those movies, you know, was it like, well, it happens on Christmas because you see a Christmas tree, and then like, well, it's a Christmas movie now.
Well, I mean, Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
Die Hard is a Christmas movie. But
Yeah.
that's because Christmas plays into the themes of the movie.
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. That's a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
It takes place on Thanksgiving, but I remember it around Christmas time.
So a lot of people always classify like the Harry Potter movies as Christmas movies, and I don't really understand why.
That's the best parts.
Because and they're like, well, Christmas happens in the movies. I was like, yeah, but they're full years. Like they're across a full year. So they'd also be like an Easter movie, a Harry's birthday movie, because that's the only one that ever gets celebrated. Everyone gets Harry stuff for his birthday, but Harry never gets anything for anyone else's birthday.
Well, he doesn't have parents.
No, but people give him gifts for his birthday, and he's rich. So
Harry's
he's very.
rich.
Oh yeah, he's rich.
I had no idea.
Yeah, he's rich, and he grows up to be a wizard cop.
Did we have another like segment planned?
I thought we were going to transition into interview, but
I tried to start with the interview because I thought the segment was just going to be the three of us filmed the way that we discussed it. But somebody has completely hijacked all the work that I've got into this thing.
Yeah.
And somehow I look like the ass.
You know, let's do the interview now.
But
How
at
about
least
that?
you got on a nice jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah, you look like you're gonna interview him. So
Listen up here. Where were you on the night of September 19th?
I don't care what you heard. It's all a lie. Everything. It's all a lie. Who told you?
were you talking like a pirate on September 19th?
I may or may not have been.
Answer the question. All right. Well, we will. We're gonna be done with this segment, sir. Are we? I don't know. You could be out of nowhere. Be like, tell us about your grandma or something like that. We have this new segment we call Grandmas. We're back with Ryan Brewer,
Hey, that's me.
and he's here, and he's great.
I'm
just tell it a little
Sometimes-
harder. That's all.
I was gonna say he's here, and then the only thing that
He's
came in my end is
okay.
he's queer. That's not it. That's not this one.
That's not your choice to make
He's
for him.
proud of it. It's like, it's definitely not what he's here for.
I am learning all sorts of things about myself today.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
He makes
Here,
movies.
he likes to talk like a pirate.
Yeah, he makes movies.
Yeah.
He likes to know that there's a day that they talk like a pirate. Shockingly, do the interview segment that we had planned for segment 1, segment 2. You make movies.
I
You make
do.
movies.
I do.
Why?
So, funny story. So when I was growing up, I wanted to be a film actor. That was the only thing I ever wanted to do when I was a kid.
You have good eyes for it.
Thank you.
Kind of sad. Paul Giamatti type.
That's all earned.
Yeah, that's what
All
everyone.
earned.
You Steve Buscemi eyes. You know.
Steve
Paul
Buscemi
Giamatti
eyes,
is
yeah.
quite the actor.
Paul
He's
Giamatti.
very
Phenomenal.
accomplished. Yes.
The way you said that makes it seem like you have a beef with Paul Giamatti. Like, yes, he's done well for himself.
Paul.
Keep stealing my roles.
Hey, I was supposed to be in Sideways.
All that wine drinking for nothing. So like I remember like when I was a kid, we were way too young to be watching Ridley Scott's Alien and just being blown away by
21.
that movie. Yeah, totally.
Mm.
And I was scared, of course, as one should be when you're 7 years old watching Alien. And I remember at the very end, there's the scene with Ripley as she's very trying to stay calm when she realizes she's trapped on the escape shuttle with the alien, and trying to like just put herself in a position to hopefully escape and get away from this thing. And I remember just thinking to myself, this is just one of the most scariest things I've ever seen. And my mom like noticed that I was scared, and like kind of like after the movie, she's like, it's all fake, it's not real. It's the guy in a suit. And that's that gal there. Her real name's Sigourney Weaver. She's an actress. This is her job. This is what she does. And I was like, that's her job? I want that job.
You were terrified.
I was terrified.
Until you
but I
realized
was like,
people were being paid.
yeah, I was like, just getting paid to do that? Yeah. And ever since then, I was really obsessed with the idea of being a film actor. And I did, and years later, I think it was 7th grade, in junior high was when I first got into theater and started doing theater and stuck with it for the rest of my school years. And then I guess there were a couple of small little film projects that I did in school, but nothing of any significant value. And at the time, I didn't think about making movies. But in high school, one of my good friends and one of my best friends in the world, actually, Keith Melcher, he got me into writing screenplays. And I think I was I was either a sophomore or a junior in high school when we were obsessed with Resident Evil, the video game. And the first script I ever wrote was a fan film based on that, which I still have. I still have that script, and it's terrible. It is absolutely terrible.
Have you seen the dialogue in Resident Evil?
Yeah. I was like, man, as far as Resident Evil goes, it's quite on par, I guess.
Yeah, Jill Sandwich.
Yeah, exactly. And as far as the actual movies that have been made, I'd still say that my movie was probably 10 times better. At the very least, it was a lot more accurate to the source material. And but no, it was terrible. And I actually sat down, I think it was last year, maybe the year before last, and tried to reread it again. I got 20 pages into it. I was like, I can't do it. I can't finish this. It's so bad.
It's probably better than most people's return to their first work.
I don't
20
know.
pages.
I mean, it was a full-length script too. I wrote the whole thing, 90 pages, 95 pages, I think it was, something like that. And then of course, obviously we didn't make that, but so after high school though, I kind of took a hiatus from everything for a few years. And by hiatus, I mean I decided to take 3 years off and just party for a really long time, and then finally got my poop in a group and ran back into Keith Melcher after years of not having seen him. And we started writing together again, and then we got the brilliant idea to make our own movies. And I was like, great, I want to be an actor. So I'm gonna. There's nobody making movies around here. Again, I didn't know if anybody was doing it. So I was like, if nobody's making them, then I'll make them, and then I'll put myself in them, and I'll get a chance to actually act.
The Sylvester Stallone approach.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Except it didn't work out as well for me.
I don't know. Have you heard him try to act recently? I don't know.
I have, unfortunately. And
most people's first screenplay wins Academy Awards.
Yeah.
Usually.
Matt Damon,
that's
Ben
how that
Affleck,
works. Yeah.
that's all I know about. Yeah.
When we first started, I was very excited about that prospect of being able to act, but I somehow got stuck doing all of the technical stuff and constantly being behind the camera. And slowly over time, I stopped being in front of the camera and just started being behind it. And I kind of fell in love with it.
You liked that more, or you just kind of
I don't know if I'd say I like it more, but I do like making the stories and creating the stories. And there is something very satisfying about getting the shot right. Getting it, that perfect shot just works. I had the brilliant idea one day when we woke up and got together for another little screenwriting meeting with my buddy, and I was like, why don't we just make our own movies? I mean, because we're not selling them, the scripts that we're writing, we're not doing anything with them. And we tried, and by tried, I mean, I think we made 2 or 3 phone calls, got told no, and we were like, well, we gave it our all from a couple of guys in South Dakota and made 3 phone calls and called it good. And then I was like, well, if we can't sell our scripts, or if it's too hard to do, we can't move out to LA. I was married at the time, and my wife, she would never know. There was no way we were going to LA. And
so you divorce her and go to LA.
Exactly.
Success story,
man. And so I was just like, well, let's just make our own. Let's just make our own. I mean, how hard can it be? And I found out really quickly how hard it can be.
Yeah.
And but I did. I somehow fell in love with it. I really like doing it, and I like telling the stories. And I very much like the control. It's very powerful.
That was Paul Giamatti. That was Paul Giamatti.
Came over the spirit of the undead Paul Giamatti.
He took over once more.
The undead Paul Giamatti.
Well, he's not dead, so it's technically correct.
Sure.
One last little thing, that story kind of bookends one of the other things. So when we decided we were going to make our own movies, we said, okay, well, what do we got to do? So well, let's just start off making short films. And okay, so we need some short films. So, well, let's write some. Like, okay, well, we'll take a week, and we'll both just sit at the computer, like whatever we come up with, we'll start writing it. And the whole idea was that we're just starting off. It's got to be simple. It's got to be something that we can do ourselves on very little money. So I wrote an epic vampire story. That was my answer to that question. It started off as this simple detective story, a noir. I wanted to do like a black and white noir because, of course, if you're starting a filmmaker, you have to make your first movie black and white.
Well, color grading's hard.
I mean, exactly.
There's been many times I've thought to myself, this podcast is straight black and white.
You should watch.
Color grading is
podcast.
hard. I hate doing it. But
Can we just make this look like the Take On Me music video?
yes, that's probably harder. Actually.
I don't
Sheldon,
know.
get drawn.
Yeah. We've got an illustrator on staff.
Of course we do. And so I started writing that, and it was about this. It was this detective story, and he was solving a murder of this young girl, and the twist was going to be that it was a vampire that killed her. And I wasn't very happy with that story, but I liked the detective character, and then I started writing a different one, and it was originally called Saviors, and it was about these two vampires who were trying to protect this young human woman from somebody, and then somehow those two stories kind of came together, and the detective was kind of chasing the vampires, not really knowing who he was going after, and then that gave birth to what eventually became Bleeder. And I became very obsessed, and I had a couple of readers, one of whom, Courtney Pierce. She's a good friend of mine. She loves vampires as well. And there's no better way to get a writer to keep writing than to tell them, hey, this is good, do more. And so I gave her like the first couple of scripts, and she thought it was good. And she's like, yeah, I want to read more. And so I kept writing it, and I kept writing it, and I kept writing it. And the next thing I knew, I had 4 seasons and a movie, a 2-hour movie to wrap it all together. I didn't do second drafts or anything like that. It was all first draft stuff. And then I knew right away, I was like, this is too big. In the first 2 years of filmmaking, I was still working with a little JVC handy cam. And I was like, this is definitely not how I want this to look. So I'm just going to set it aside, and maybe we'll get back to it at some other time. And so that was kind of where it all started. And that story has come full circle in recent days.
Genius limited by the technology of its time.
Many have said that about me.
Maybe.
I don't know what technology you're waiting for. If I had it.
One project that, some people might have seen before that's been out there a while is Larry and the Monsters. You want to tell us a little bit about what led to Larry and the Monsters?
So Larry and the Monsters, this was actually also something that went all the way back to the beginning. Because while I was making my epic vampire story, Keith was off making a much simpler, more fun, and easily digestible comedy short it was just called Vampire Short at the time, because that's how creative we were.
Right.
We couldn't come up with a good title. And it
5-3 Vampire Short.
Yeah. And it was about this guy at the time. I don't think we really had a backstory for him, but at the time it was just a random guy home alone at night, and a vampire comes like to his door, and it's the whole vampire can't come in unless you invite them in. So it becomes a back and forth of me standing at the door as the vampire and him basically taunting me for 5 minutes. And then eventually he does invite me in, but it turns out that he kept me up all the sun comes up, and I poof into a smoke. And then from there, I thought it was a really cool idea, this idea of this like down on his luck guy just living by himself, and he's got these monsters that live with him. And then a few years later, I got the idea. I really wanted to go back and revisit it, so I did a kind of a soft reboot of the series, and we actually had a small budget for that one. We were able to hire a great DP out of Aberdeen, Sean O'Connell of Labyrinth Films, and he came all the way out here and helped us film it, and it was really fun. It was really good. It is on YouTube still, and one of my favorite things to this day. I still think that it had so much potential as a show. Like, it really could have been something cool as an ongoing series or comedy series or something like that, but just never really found its audience.
Not yet.
Not yet. I'll be like 80 and on my deathbed, and that's when it will find its audience.
You just get Van Gogh'd.
Exactly.
So, and again, on the physical appearance side of your vampires, how do you?
Oh, they're sexy.
Okay.
Yeah, I've never been a big fan of the monster vampire.
Okay.
I really haven't. Like,
Yeah.
I think they're fun movies to watch. I love vampire movies. It's probably my favorite genre of film.
You don't say.
Yeah, as I wear the Lost Boys sweater here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, are they like Lost Boys?
They're a little
vampires?
more Lost Boys.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool,
yeah. They're not,
cool.
but like they're definitely not From Dusk Till Dawn.
Obviously, fan of the Lost Boys. What are some of your other, like, you said you're a big fan of, like, vampire films. What other ones?
Greatest
Like
vampire
Twilight,
movie of
like-
all time is Bram Stoker's Dracula by Francis Ford Coppola. That's hands down, I think, the best ever vampire movie made. Interview with a Vampire, obviously in the top 3 as well. Lost Boys, I'd probably put it number 3. Actually, I think it would have to go Bram Stoker's Interview and Lost Boys. And then pretty much any vampire movie after that.
Have you ever seen Warm Bodies?
It's more zombie, less.
Was that a zombie movie?
That is,
zombie
yeah.
movie.
Oh. I just remember blood.
There are a lot that I haven't seen. I'm not going to sit
Have you
here
seen
and-
Blackula?
Yeah.
Blackula's funny.
That is funny. I love those kind of, especially the older the vampire movie gets, the better it gets to me. Like, that's just more enjoyable. The old 70s, early 80s exploitation films, they're fantastic. Pretty much anything from the 80s is
What's that one?
Blade.
Blade.
Yeah, what's that one? Like? Yeah,
Blade 2 is the better movie, I think.
Young Matheson, pull this up. It's a Catherine Bigelow movie with vampires.
Near Dark?
Oh yeah,
Near Dark.
yeah. Near Dark. Yep.
I was get
That's a great. It's
Deuce Bigelow, male gigolo.
Bill Paxton.
Yeah, yes.
And Lance Henriksen was in that movie. In fact, I think that's where James Cameron got most of his cast for Aliens too.
So vampire movies, very big. You love this. Alien.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to assume because you just said I'm pretty sure that James Cameron got most of his cast for Aliens too.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably a general James Cameron fan.
I do. I like older James Cameron stuff,
Like Terminator.
Terminator 2.
Not Avatar.
No.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
What
like
are
that.
your feelings on Titanic? That's the real question.
When I really just want to sit down with some ice cream and some tissues and have myself a good cry, I'll watch it.
Well, I love that Titanic happened basically because James Cameron was like, I really just want to visit the wreck of the Titanic, and if I have to
Yeah.
make a movie to do it, I will.
See, that's how famous I want to be someday, is to just be like Adam Sandler. Like, I'm just gonna make this movie because it gives me an excuse to take all my friends on vacation.
Yep.
Because we're gonna.
That's
go
the
to
dream.
Hawaii or- Of course.
All right.
We'll bring the podcast on the road. It'll be amazing.
So, what are some other movies though where it's like, because what's a movie where it's like technically you've been like, you're like, that's something I wish I did that. I wish I
on a
had that.
technical level.
Blackula.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Don't joke about
Blade
Blackula,
Runner.
dude.
I love the Blade Runner movies. I love.
Both of
I
them?
love. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I love. Well, just Ridley Scott movies in general.
So I have a question. I guess you could keep it with the horror genre or whatever, but is there like a trope that you really like that they do?
I'll tell you a trope that I don't like.
Okay.
And
Okay.
that is the group of teenagers that shouldn't be friends in every horror movie, and yet somehow always are.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Every
Hold on,
horror
give me
movie,
an example.
like literally all of them.
You can't.
Anytime there has ever been a group of teenagers in a horror movie that go out to the cabin in the woods or go out
Hey,
camping.
Cabin in the Woods is a great movie.
They're never in Cabin in the Woods is actually a very good example of
Are you
making
saying-
fun of the trope. Like,
You mean
these
there's
are
like
all people that
a
shouldn't.
jock, a nerd,
A jerk. Yeah, exactly. Like these are all people that are would never associate with each other under any other circumstance, and they even act like they hate each other.
Have
and
you seen
yet they're
Breakfast Club?
friends. Yeah, yeah.
A basket case.
All of them.
That was a great horror movie.
They came together.
It was a great movie. But like
Sheldon's like going to school on a Saturday. That's the worst.
and the funny thing about it is that it's never them actually coming together. It's never them.
Well, they're dying.
Yeah, they just get killed off one at a time, and but there's always some guy who's always like a massive a-hole to everybody in the group, and yet somehow he keeps getting invited to the group events, and clearly nobody likes him.
And he's dating.
That's you.
Like,
That's you.
And I don't know. It's such a cheap manufactured conflict.
I'm sure it can't be all horror all the time. Like, what's your favorite like lighthearted movie or TV show or something that
I revisit How I Met Your Mother all the time. That's one of my favorite shows of all time. I've probably rewatched it from start to finish, the whole series 6 times in the last year, because I always put it on while I'm editing photos.
Do you have any characters from How I Met Your Mother that you relate to?
I love Marshall.
Yeah.
He's the best.
That's the correct answer.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, he's really the only good guy in the whole show.
Yeah.
Everybody else, I mean, Ted is insufferable, and Barney is, Barney.
I watched the show. I tried to watch it one time, like years and years ago, and I got to like season 3,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just, I don't know.
it's too cheerful.
Could not
You
watch
couldn't
it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But see, it doesn't make sense because I love Friends.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I couldn't do that one.
Oh, it didn't have enough homophobia for you.
Yes.
That's okay. All right.
Yes, that must be it. And you know what? I do tell people this, like, if you're going to get into How I Met Your Mother, that you kind of have to give Ted a chance, because for the first 2 to 3 seasons, he is going to be very insufferable. But he gets better. Like after he and Robin break up, I think his character gets much better.
I gotta say, I'm a Ted stan. These things you've been saying have been very upsetting. I never even thought about the idea that Ted could be insufferable until you brought it up.
Did I just did the glass just shatter? The
Yeah.
whole universe just came apart.
That's How I Met Your Mother.
That's a part of How I Met Your Mother.
Is there any movies like, lighthearted movies?
Fave movies.
Yeah.
As far as lighthearted goes, Shaun of the Dead is one of my go-tos. Oh God, I can't believe I almost forgot about it. Big Fish.
Oh, interesting. I
That is
haven't
one of my
seen
favorite
it.
movies of all time.
I've heard it's great.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I love that film. It's a very different kind of movie for Tim Burton too, and yet still has a little bit of that Tim Burton flair to it.
Was that the movie that he was directing that made it so he couldn't direct Nightmare Before Christmas?
No,
That
no.
wasn't it?
Fish was like
Planet of the Apes, I bet.
it might. Yeah,
I think it's Planet of the Apes.
It could have been.
I'm serious.
Wait, he directed that movie?
He directed a Planet of the
Or
Apes.
one of the Planet of the
Not
Apes?
the one you're thinking of, probably.
with Mark Wahlberg. Guys, there's apes here. What's
They
up with
blew
that?
it up.
Well, say hello to your mother for me.
What's your favorite lighthearted movie? This is Big Fish. That was a good answer. I want you to.
It
I
was
want you-
Batman
I want you to
Forever, by the
bomb.
way.
Oh, it was.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, he was
Batman
supposed to,
Forever.
but he ended up not doing it.
Or Batman Return.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He was on that. And he couldn't. It was one of the Batman movies.
I don't know, When Harry Met Sally.
That's yeah.
Broadcast
Efron.
news, and those are the.
I've only seen When Harry Met Sally one time,
That's all you need to.
It's really
and
good.
it's been so long I don't
I
even
don't even
remember.
think I
The
watched
only
that.
thing I remember is the scene that everybody always shows during any top 10 list, and that's the orgasm scene.
Yeah.
Who's
hold
in
on.
Who's in
The
this
fake
movie?
orgasm scene.
I've only watched on airplanes. What are you talking about? Anytime I get on an airplane, I'm like, I need to calm down. Thank God they got When Harry Met Sally.
Yeah, you put on When Harry Met
Who's in
Sally.
that movie? I don't even.
When Harry Met Sally is Meg Ryan, because it's
Billy Crystal.
Yeah, and Nora Ephron. So it's of course got Meg Ryan in it.
And then Carrie Fisher.
Yep, Carrie Fisher's in it.
Carrie Fisher.
What's the guy's name in it? Because I
Is this-
really like him.
Is this a movie I have to watch?
Yeah, it's probably the best romantic comedy of all time.
Okay.
Hands down.
Yeah, it's. I mean,
as far as I'm concerned, the
really close
only
with
romantic
several
comedy.
other Nora Ephron movies because she
Yeah.
was kind of the queen of the genre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Punch Drunk Love. I go to rom-coms when I'm like, I need something.
I could. I mean,
But
and
Punch Drunk Love's not like, it's not light.
Well, no, it's not light, but it's also a very. I would say that's kind of a. It's a good choice.
I think it's very funny.
Yeah, I think it's a good.
And
choice.
anytime I've watched it with people, they don't think it's funny because they're sleeping.
Well, if you'd stay awake, you'd know.
Yeah.
I think that you guys are selling probably the best lighthearted movie ever, short, in The Princess Bride.
Yeah.
I mean,
Is that your pick?
That's my pick for my
Okay.
favorite.
Princess Bride
lighthearted
is
movie.
it's overrated.
man, I can't
Princess
believe I'm on
Bride.
the show.
It's
We just got canceled while we were recording an episode. Can you believe it?
right in the middle of it.
absolutely overrated.
Like you didn't even have to air it. That just like
Yeah, it just
went out into the
yeah.
world and
Somewhere, Mandy Patinkin just had a heart attack,
Fine.
and Carrie Elwes is coming for you.
Got fast.
You know what?
probably.
I think I do have to say though. I absolutely love The Princess Bride. Endlessly quotable. I could watch it any day of the week.
Yep.
I think that's I think it's a cheap cop out though to pick that one.
Okay, all right. I'll go to
it's
my
overrated.
next one. Thank you. All right.
Because it's such an easy one to go for.
All right.
Because it's such a good movie. That
Second.
I mean, who
Back,
doesn't like?
Back to the Future.
Okay, there you go. That's a good one.
Like it's such a fun ride, and I'll only take the first one if I have to pick one. But the whole trilogy is just a fun ride throughout, and it's just like the story that's told is great. You know, there's a lot of relationship stuff that happens. Obviously, you know, with Marty kind of growing and learning, and it's a lot of fun. And seeing Doc kind of, I don't know, just be crazy, just fun. Yeah. All right, lighthearted movie. Do you believe in lighthearted movies?
Yes.
Okay.
I got two that I can't choose between. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, or
One of the most cynical movies
Or-
ever made.
or Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Okay, the second one might be another top 5 rom-com because it's fantastic. It's a great movie.
Love that movie.
5?
Maybe.
You got to watch more rom-coms.
All right. Okay.
It's good. It's very funny. I actually only recently watched it, but it's very funny.
I love that movie.
One of my other top 5 rom-coms is called About Time. About Time?
I don't think I've heard of that one.
No?
Is it Time After Time? The one where
No, it's About Time is what it's called.
you didn't even hear what I was going to say what Time After Time was.
What is Time After Time?
H.G. Wells travels through time to hunt Jack the Ripper.
That was not the one I was thinking of, no.
Okay.
This one has Rachel McAdams in it, which means, of course, it's also a great rom-com. Has Domhnall Gleeson in it as, like, the protagonist. Rachel McAdams, Bill Nye, and
Bill Nye?
Nigh, yeah, Nighy, the British one.
Yeah.
It's about
They have a British-
yeah, they do. It's about a guy who realizes that men in his family can travel through time and basically just go back in their own time stream. So he can go back and redo moments over. It's actually got a younger Margot Robbie in it too. You guys want to watch it after this? I will watch this after
Do you
we-
just
no.
need somebody to
No.
come watch
Maybe.
a rom com with?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Is it one of those kind of nights?
It is cuffing season.
what?
It's cuffing season.
I haven't heard of that rom-com.
I can pick up some ice cream after the show if you want.
Is there another movie we should have asked you about that we didn't?
Okay, there's 2 movies. I have 2. 2 recommendations. They're both horror. Saint Maud, which is on YouTube or not YouTube, Hulu, and that's probably one of the more interesting horror films I've seen in recent days. But hands down, one of the most unique and best zombie experiences I've had at watching a movie in a long time is called One Cut of the Dead, and that one is available on, I believe, Amazon. And it is a very difficult movie to describe because there's a few interesting twists to the way the movie was made, and so you can't really talk about it without accidentally giving anything away. It's just you have to experience it.
I think another film in that genre is Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's
I
like
haven't seen that one yet.
how do you describe? Have you seen Everything Everywhere All at Once?
Yeah.
Okay. It's like
It's a multi-dimensional kung fu movie. Just describe
I
it.
mean, that's the IMDb billing for this movie is a Chinese woman struggles with her taxes, which is just wonderful because it's so underselling what the movie is.
Yeah, because it's a multi-dimensional kung fu movie.
Yeah.
I do have one more movie recommendation, actually. And this one is probably the most important movie recommendation of them all. And it's called The Controller. And it's free to watch on YouTube.
The Controller on YouTube.
Yes.
Who made it?
I did. as a
Oh,
matter of
wow,
fact.
interesting.
Yes.
I love that
Yes,
movie. I didn't know that was you.
highly recommend it.
I didn't know that was you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's actually, it's a, so The Controller is a prequel series to Bleeder.
I love Bleeder too.
I heard Javier Bardem said that was his favorite.
You know, he and I,
Yeah.
I mean, he might be a little biased. We're friends.
He was a little tied up with the Dune series, but he was going to be in Control.
He was gonna. He was at the top of the list, and he almost gave up. He almost gave up Dune
Yeah.
for The Controller.
That's what
He
I
was
heard.
like, I don't want to do this. Sell out.
It's like, this movie's been done before,
Yeah.
by David Lynch, no less. Had Patrick Stewart in it. And he still had no hair.
What did Patrick Stewart play in the David Lynch Dune movie?
Please
Please tell me he was
Sandworm?
Duncan, Idaho. I just want
I don't
Duncan,
remember
Idaho,
which character
Patrick
it was that
Stewart.
he played.
That would be incredible.
Patrick Stewart just sliding through a sandbox. So as we always end off one of our guest segments, we have our esteemed guest here, Ryan Brewer.
You know, if we're gonna do like a weekend update type thing, I'm gonna need you to be on. All right.
I want to do more like a Charlie.
You know
What's-
what you just reminded me of, though? You ever watched the Graham Norton show?
Yeah.
There's a really funny clip of back when Blade Runner 2049 first came out, and they were promoting the movie, and Ryan Gosling and Harrison Ford were on the show, and it's hilarious because I'm pretty sure it's intentional, but because Harrison Ford is just a funny guy, but he kept just forgetting Ryan Gosling's name.
Yeah, he kept being like,
and it makes me laugh every time. That's one of the reasons I love Harrison Ford.
So we're here with Brian Brewer,
Who's not Harrison Ford?
and I'm trying to get the hell out of here. I'm trying to end this podcast so hard, and they keep me here, and I can't get out,
It's like Space Jam. We keep him chained to the table.
and I don't know what to do. So Ryan Brewer, you've made the controller. You're
Yes.
making the controller.
Making and have made, yes. It is a series, so it's coming out. I call them chapters instead of episodes. It's kind of just structurally
It's
hard.
fancy.
Yeah, it sounds more pretentious that way. And the prologue to the story is currently out on the YouTube channel, which is you can either watch on my channel, Brood Images, or you can watch on the new channel that we just made for the show. It's called Elder Vampire, but it's The Controller. And we've filmed chapter 1, and it is now in the process of being edited very slowly by me.
If you started editing a little faster,
I know.
it'd come out sooner.
I do need it. Well, I had to wait on a lot of things. I'm still technically waiting on things. I've been trying desperately to get a shot for the last month, and it keeps not happening. But that's supposed to be like a sunset shot, and a sunset this time of year is really hard to get, especially get a good one. But we are in the process of trying to raise funds to finish the show, because we're going to be starting filming on chapters 2 and 3 this month, the weekend of March 22nd, 23rd. And we have an Indiegogo campaign right now that's live, and
How do you find that?
the internet.
Hey,
Kind of
idiot.
like the name.
Well, you could probably look up The Controller, or I think it's under The Controller. Is the name of the campaign.
So you're making some more chapters. You're
Yes.
pushing some chapters
So
out.
the-
How many
the
more
plan-
chapters
So
in the pipeline?
the Controller prequel series is intended to have 6 chapters total plus the prologue, so 7 episodes technically. The prologue's pretty short; it's only about 15 minutes long, as a prologue should be. And then the rest of the chapters are going to be about a half hour long, pretty close to.
Now pitch the controller for me. What is this?
The Controller is about Cece. She's the main character, and she is in this universe, this vampire universe. Her title is Controller, and she basically it's her job to police other vampires when they're doing things bad or breaking the rules or risking exposing vampires to society. She's the one who gets brought in to put them back in check.
Sounds like my ex-wife. Controlling him, all right, fellas?
And throughout the course of the story, she basically goes through she's going through sort of a vampire existential crisis. Like she just doesn't really know how to deal with being immortal anymore, and it starts to affect her job in really bad ways. And she soon gets kind of entangled in a much bigger plot that eventually leads into Bleeder.
All right.
Yeah. One of my favorite parts is the first time in 15 years that I've attempted to actually film a fight scene, and it actually turned out really good. Like I was really impressed with how it turned out for being the first time. And I was very proud of our stars, Jade and Janelle. Jade plays Cece, Jade Jobs, and Janelle Allward plays Lucy. And they get into a little bit of a scuffle, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And they did amazing. They did a great job with it, and I couldn't be happier.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
What's craft services look like on your set?
You like pizza? Because we ain't got any.
What is your opinion on Stanley Kubrick?
Oh my god.
Jesus.
Stanley Kubrick.
Get away from this.
Okay, I think he's made some good movies, and actually he made one of my favorite movies of all time. That's not a vampire movie, Dr. Strangelove. I think that's a fantastic comedy, dark comedy. I'm not a big fan of his methods. I'm not that meticulous. I am all for doing multiple takes to get a
But
scene
not
right.
127?
Not
Oh, okay.
127. Not for some keys for sure. There's times when I thought we were going to end up doing 127 takes. Not for any particular reason, but just things happen. But yeah, I like his movies, and I think as far as innovative filmmakers go, Kubrick definitely contributed a lot to cinema. But
And how would you respond to somebody saying that Kubrick was a talentless hack? Was that what you
I
said?
said he was overrated.
Talentless hack.
I mean, I can see it. I can see why.
Like, would
Keep
you
in
like
mind-
would you like him to direct Controller?
No.
Okay.
Because then
No.
he wouldn't get to direct
Exactly.
Controller.
I mean, if Kubrick were still alive today, I definitely would have liked to have seen what would have happened with AI if he actually
Oh
could have
my
got to make
gosh.
that movie.
Steven Spielberg's AI does not look like a Kubrick film at
No,
all.
not even remotely. And it's and I think even Spielberg knows that. Like, I think he feels like he may have dropped the ball on that one. But
I don't think it's bad.
I don't think it's bad either. I think it's an enjoyable movie. But I am curious what Kubrick's version of that movie would have been like. I've seen Eyes Wide Shut. I mean, it's good in parts.
Barry Lyndon. Have you seen Barry Lyndon?
I have.
Oh, that's a cool response on Barry Lyndon for being one of the best movies of all time. That's we wouldn't have Wes Anderson without Barry
No,
Lyndon.
no. I mean, it's a good movie. It's just not. I mean, I don't know. I think with me, Kubrick's very hit and miss. There's times when I really like his stuff, and then there's times when I'm just like.
And you think like 2001, it's like a little overpraised.
It really is. I think. I mean, it's not a terrible movie. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen, but it doesn't really get. It's
visually really stunning, but it
Yeah.
essentially means nothing at all.
I think that's one of the things that I will always admire about Kubrick about all of his films is the visuals, because he is a very his movies do have a very great visual flair to them, and he's very meticulous about those visuals. And like I was just watching a video the other day about how he had the custom lenses made for one of his films because he wanted to shoot all natural light with no modifiers. So he had like candles in the scene and stuff, and there's just no lens around that could get that. It could open its aperture that much to let to let the light in to see what was going on. So he had custom cinema lenses designed to be able to film those scenes.
To be able to shoot Barry Lyndon.
Yeah.
So what is like another director out there that you really admire? Like that you really have liked their
God,
work?
we're gonna be here for days.
Once upon a time I would have said Christopher Nolan, but I don't know so much now. I like a lot of his older movies better. I love Wes Anderson movies. I really do.
They are very like fun to watch.
They are. I watched Asteroid City recently, and I was
It's so good.
old school Dario Argento. Good stuff.
I didn't know Dario Argento did old school. It
Well,
seems
Dario Argento.
a little different from the rest of his stuff.
Getting Will Ferrell involved there was, genius.
Yeah. I don't know. I've been trying to expand a little bit more and watch stuff that I don't normally watch very much. I got a subscription to Mubi recently, and
Movie's crazy.
yeah, it is crazy. And I'm kind of checking out more indie films, and because I'm hoping to do stuff that's not horror in the future as well, and I'd like to kind of just watch more of stuff like that, I guess. I like Greta Gerwig too. I really like Greta Gerwig. I don't think she's amazing, but I do like her stuff.
Speaking of new stuff, we have a new product.
No, hold on. I think we got 5 more questions for this segment that was supposed to last 10 seconds.
Tyler threatened to kill me if I asked any more questions.
I'm like,
Are you sure you don't want to know who my favorite grip is? Or my favorite best boy?
who's your favorite best boy? And if it's not me, I'm going to kill myself.
It's totally you.
Do you like Succession? Succession's a really good show.
I've never watched it.
It's good. So Matheson has a product.
Yeah. Our sponsor this week really came out of the woodwork. We didn't see it coming, but they've got a really great product.
Our sponsor is termites.
For me, as a diabetic, there are certain things that I'm not supposed to have,
Oh my
like
God.
carbs. Yeah. So carbs are something I should avoid in
A1C.
large quantities, and so chicharrones by
Chili
Turkey
lime.
Creek here. They are made from pork fat, which is awesome. Yeah. So
Do you have any allergies?
I don't.
Okay, cool. All right.
they
I'm allergic
have
to crap.
less than 1 gram of carb in this, which is awesome. So they're chili lime flavored pork rinds.
Don't eat into the mic.
So obviously
And we obviously
we only
need to-
endorse top quality products.
Top quality products.
So we have to try this out and make sure that we
Oh, you got a spicy looking one.
Yeah,
That one's
it
got
was-
lots of.
Yep. It was also the smallest one on top. All the rest of them were
so go ahead and make sure you really
just really get in there.
feel the experience.
So I'm gonna.
Explain how you feel.
Should we
We're
toast?
gonna go with this big guy here.
Oh, there we go.
But I love.
I already
pork
put mine
rinds.
in my mouth.
Fun fact.
You guys are all gonna get herpes.
Cheers.
There we go. Cheers.
I'm
You're all
single,
gonna
by the way.
syphilis. It does not matter. That crunching sound is everywhere.
Okay.
It's exactly like Takis.
Love it. It's
You
good.
take that.
This is literally just a pile of fat.
Good. All 3 count. I'll give it
Turkey
a
Creek snacks. Thank you.
I'll give it like a
Ooh.
7.5. That's how I give it.
As much crap as I will give pork skins because it's first of all it's dirty meat.
Are we gonna have the pork conversation from Pulp Fiction right now?
No, I'm just
Okay.
saying it's pork. It's dirty meat. It's no good.
But not this top quality product.
But if I was gonna eat any dirty meat,
It'd be
I would hope it came from the fine folks at Turkey Creek. If I was ever gonna eat any animal that rolls around in its own shit, I would hope it comes from Turkey Creek. Because Turkey Creek, chicharrones means quality in Spanish.
Chicharron.
What's your
I endorse this product.
We're gonna tune into the
controller?
I know the name of it. I wasn't. We're gonna tune into the controller, and every character is gonna be like, I just don't know how to be immortal anymore. Thank goodness for these chicharrones by Turkey Creek.
He's gonna look on his Indiegogo, and it's gonna be completely funded by Turkey Creek. Let's go.
So, fun fact though, on the Indiegogo campaign, there is actually a perk for sponsorship. Like if you want to have your logo in the film credit.
There we go.
Turkey Creek, get on it.
This case is tearing me apart. Thank God I have Turkey Creek snacks.
What tastes better than blood?
No, it's just gonna cut to somebody.
Turkey
They're
Creek
gonna have their
snacks.
headphones
Yeah,
in,
it's funny.
pull it out.
I didn't. No one laughed, but I thought it was funny.
I couldn't stay immortal if I didn't have the great guys over at Things Might Happen to keep me sane.
Yeah, we should be on the show.
Yeah.
Is there any place where there's like, I don't know, like really handsome dude?
Can I
mean-
get killed in the movie?
You absolutely can do that.
I think I want to do that.
I will only do full frontal nudity.
Is there any of that?
I mean, we can make it happen.
He's gonna have to make a special lens though for it.
Yeah.
Custom made.
All right.
All right. Is there anything else?
I think that's
Is there
it.
anything else?
I think that's
I
it.
think we're good.
It's 2 in the
plug
morning.
all your websites, social media.
Oh,
Ryan Brewer.
and we
Ryan
just
Brewer.
cut off
The That's where it ends. The controller can be seen on YouTube. YouTube is The Elder Vampire or Brood Images. Brood Images is my personal one, and that's where I post most of my stuff. You can also watch the Resident Evil fan film. Is on the Brood Images one if you're into Resident Evil. You can go to Magic Time Films to find some of my old work. www.broodimages.com is my website. Brood Images on Instagram. Brood Images on Facebook. I kind
can
of
hire
locked
you
that
for
one
photography?
down. You can 100% hire me
He
for
is a
photography.
wonderful portrait photographer.
Thank you.
I say that with
Thank you very much.
absolutely no joke.
I appreciate that. I really do.
I shot my prom pictures and they didn't come back. Not they didn't come back well. They just didn't come back.
to keep them for myself.
Every copy. This is 1 hour photo right here.
It's also a good movie.
All right. Give it up for Ryan Brewer, everybody. I think that's it. I think we got it.
All right. Well, because you entered, for continuity,
Oh, yeah.
you have to leave.
Can we get the sad Hulk walking away music?
I have no idea what you were talking about.
Ryan Brewer, everybody.
Ryan Brewer.
It's not a stand-up show.